Recording of Nectar and a Sieve by Kamala Markandaya. Part 1, Chapter 17. When Kuti was gone, with a bland indifference that mocked our loss, the abundant grain grew ripe. It was the second crop of the year, sown on ground which had not been allowed to lie fallow, and so we did not think it would be other than meager. But contrary to our expectations, it was a very good harvest. Every husk was filled, the paddies stood firm and healthy, showing no breaks in their ranks. We worked through the days, and in the twilight getting in the rice, and then we worked 3 more days draining the fields and clearing them, and then 3 more nights sifting and winnowing. Even so, a heap of unhusked paddy lay in our granary, and waiting until the marketing should be done. "It is as I said," Nathan exclaimed. "Strength has been given to us, else how could so much have been achieved by such as we?" He looked around triumphantly, pointing to the neat white hills of rice and the husks in a rustling brown heap. We looked at each other, streaked with sweat, thin and bony like scarecrows, and as ugly. And suddenly, what he had said seemed very funny. And first, Selvum, and then Ira began to laugh, helpless, speechless, with tears running down their cheeks, until we older people slowly joined them. Could not help but join in their laughter, and the spectre of what had been tweaked at our memories in vain. There we were, the 4 of us, hysterical, released, rocking with laughter and gasping for breath which ran out as fast as we sucked it in. The hollow cheeks and bulging stomachs, the grotesque, jutting bones became matter for laughter. Already, though they were still with us in our minds, they belonged to the past, to the painful past, that we thrust from us with all our force, and the laughter was in some measure born to relief that we could do so. Nathan especially was in an exuberant mood. He kept slapping his thigh and shaking his head as if he could not believe in so much good fortune. In his palm he held a few grains of rice, rubbing them together to produce a dry rustle, which seemed to delight him, for he kept repeating the movement. Perhaps it was to reassure himself that they were real, and not a part of his desperate imaginings. There will be enough to pay what we owe," he exclaimed, "and to keep what we want. We can stock the fields with fish as well." "And plant vegetables," I said. "I shall need to buy bean stalks and chili seeds, and perhaps a few young pumpkin vines, sweet potatoes, of course. I have made a lot from my vegetables before." "Indeed, yes," he said eagerly. "There will be money enough for us for all this. You will see. God has given us another chance in his mercy." "First the marketing," I said, smiling, for who would not at such optimism? Then the plans. Then and there, in a fever of impatience, we got out the gunny bags and the tall brass measure, and set to calculating quantities and prices. The sowing of seed disciplines the body, and the sprouting of the seed uplifts the spirit. But there is nothing to equal the rich satisfaction of a gathered harvest. When the grain is set before you in shining mounds, and your hands are whitened with the dust of the good rice, or the very act of measuring, or filling the measure, and topping it with a peak, careless of its height because you can afford to be, and also because you know, in your prudence, that the grains will see to it that you are not too generous, and slip and tumble down the sides of the measure if that peak be too tall. So many handfuls to one measure, so many measures to one sack, one after the other, and the sacks are filled and put away, with rejoicing and thankfulness. Later we go to offer prayers, bearing camphor and kumkum, paddy and oil. Our hearts are very grateful.